Okay, there we go. That sounds better. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for attending the Lower Paxton Township Board of Supervisors business meeting this Tuesday, July 7th, 2026. Please let us all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we do have quite a bit to cover tonight. Item number 3 on the agenda, the approval of the minutes of May 20th, 2026, our business meeting. Do I have a motion from the board to approve those minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Supervisor Lindsay. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Supervisor Thompson. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays have the same right. The minutes have been approved. Now, item 4 on the agenda, administration of oath of office of 5 of our police officers. All right. I state your name.
I, Jordan Howard,
Duly appointed as a police officer of Lower Paxton,
duly appointed as a police officer of Paxton,
Dauphin County, Pennsylvania,
Dauphin County, Pennsylvania,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America,
I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the ordinances of the Township of Lower Paxton.
and the ordinances of the Township of Paxton.
I will uphold, obey, and enforce the law
I will uphold, obey, and enforce the law
without consideration to a person's race,
without consideration to a person's race,
color,
color,
sex,
sex,
religious creed,
sexual orientation,
age,
age,
national origin,
national
ancestry,
handicap or disability,
and I will discharge my duties as a police officer with honor and fidelity.
as a police officer with honor.
Ryan Calhoun is a 28-year-old and a resident of Susquehanna Township, where he was born and raised. Officer Calhoun is a 2016 graduate of Bishop McDevitt High School and a 2020 graduate of Robert Morris University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. In 2020, Officer Calhoun was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army and served until 2025, attaining the rank of captain. Officer Calhoun was previously employed for 1.5 years by the Tacoma Police Department in Washington State before accepting employment with Lower Paxton Township Bureau of Police. Joining Officer Calhoun this evening is his parents Deb and Rod Calhoun and his grandparents Sue and Ron Fertel. Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard is 26 years old and lives in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Officer Howard was born and raised in West Grove, Pennsylvania, in Chester County, and is a 2018 graduate of Avon Grove High School. Officer Howard graduated from Messiah College in 2022 with a bachelor's degree in Peace and Conflict Studies. Officer Howard is a 2023 graduate of the Harrisburg Area Community College Police Academy and was previously employed 3 years by the Upper Allen Township Police Department in Cumberland County. Officer Howard is joined this evening by his wife Rachel, his parents Wayne and Pam Howard. Chad Fraser. Chad Fraser is a 26-year-old and a resident of Hummelstown, Pennsylvania. Officer Fraser was born and raised in Barnegat, New Jersey, and is a 2018 graduate of Barnegat High School. Officer Fraser attended the University of the Sciences in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Stockton University in New Jersey before joining the New Jersey Army National Guard in 2020, where he served for 6 years, including 1 overseas deployment. Officer Fraser was previously employed by the Camden County Sheriff's Office and the Egg Harbor Township Police Department, bringing 4 years of prior law enforcement experience to Lower Paxton Township. He is joined this evening by his wife, Melina. David Fiera Figueroa. David Fiera Figueroa is 23 years old and a resident of Hummelstown, Pennsylvania, where he was born and raised. Officer Fiera Figueroa is a 2021 graduate of Lower Dauphin High School and a 2025 graduate of Penn State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in criminology. Officer Fiera Figueroa attended the Harrisburg Area Community College Police Academy as a pre-service cadet, and we are proud to welcome him to the Lower Paxton Township Bureau of Police as a recent Academy graduate. Officer Fiera Figueroa is joined this evening by his parents Edith and Mario and his brother Brian and Yahir. John Aston. John Aston is 23 years old and a resident of Susquehanna Township. Officer Aston grew up in Center Hall, PA, in Center County, and is a 2021 graduate of Penns Valley High School. Officer Aston was a student athlete and a member of the football team at Bloomsburg University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in digital forensics and cybersecurity with a minor in criminal justice. Officer Aston just started his police academy training at the Harrisburg Area Community College and is expected to graduate in December of 2026. Officer Aston is joined this evening by his parents, John and Kelly, who both serve in law enforcement. Also here supporting Officer Aston is his sister, Lainey, and his girlfriend, Evelyn. Guys, come on up for pictures. Just the officers first, and then we'll get your families up.
education.
It's a different forensics,
Yeah,
peace and conflict, and engineering.
that's right. Talented guys.
Talented.
All right, let's give our police officers another round of applause. And let's also give their families a round of applause. Thank you, Director Kashiba, for just, again, bringing together an outstanding team of young men and women, not only here today, but in the entire police force. We appreciate the work that you do, and you have our trust and confidence. Thank you so much. All right, all right. Let's pause for another minute or so. All right, on to item number 5 of the agenda, public comment. And again, public comment for non-agenda items. Okay, yes it is. Yes it is. Yep.
Can you turn on your mic, please? Thank you.
Happy 4th of July.
Yep.
Thank you.
I am a resident of Lower Paxton for 20 years.
And your name, sir?
Bill More with Less on YouTube.
Okay,
I signed in on your sheet.
gotcha.
For 20 years, I've been a resident. I own a half-acre lot. I own a 6-foot privacy fence. I own a Case 580C backhoe. I don't see Nick here. He must be in the other room. He so kindly sent me a letter to get rid of my property, and I don't have a problem with that. If anybody knows, when you move a piece of equipment, it costs money. It's not a Matchbox car. I find it funny that everybody in front of me is looking question mark, because Nick slid this underneath the entire board's noses. Miss Vice Chair, You asked Nick in one of your past segments before you vote on this agenda, have we heard about it? Have we talked about it? And he stood up here and said, yes, ma'am, it was on the workshop. When you go back to look at the workshop, you guys talked about a lot of items. But what you didn't talk about that he slid underneath your nose was section 203.516.A, parking of commercial vehicles. And it's a doozy. Funny to me, commercial equipment, including trucks in excess of 1 ton capacity, comma, tandems, comma, tractor trailers, comma, tractors, comma, or other vehicles bearing commercial advertisement or construction or cargo. Moving vehicles or equipment shall not, under any conditions, be stored outside in an enclosed building or garage or be parked overnight on any district where residential uses are, oh my goodness, I can't see, are permitted. The parking of commercial vehicles is not permitted in township streets or in front, side, rear lots of any yard. This regulation shall not apply to any commercial vehicles parked temporary in residential outside purpose of loading and unloading written services due to what it says is if somebody's getting roofing delivered or whatever by Home Depot, that's legal. But if you are a resident, a 20-year resident of Lower Paxton, and you have things that you work hard for, well, it can be taken away with the stroke of a pen. So thank you very much for taking away commercial equipment on my residential property that none of my neighbors even remotely care about. Actually, my neighborhood likes it because whenever they need something done, the guy with the backhoe down the street can come up and just boop, boop, pick up whatever you need or whatever. That's my 2 minutes and 53 seconds out of 5. I'd like to open it to questions to any of the board if you have any questions. Or not.
No questions. Did you have something, Supervisor Lindsay?
I didn't hear the address, that's why I'm just asking.
What's the address?
Irene Drive. You know this is streamed on YouTube. Do you know that, I don't know if you guys are aware, but anytime you give information or addresses on YouTube, they can scrub them and
Okay.
use it against you. I have it written down over in
I got it. I got you.
Okay.
All right.
Happy 4th of July. Freedom.
Happy 4th to you too, sir.
Excuse me, sir. When did you get your letter from Mr. Gerhardt?
That's even the best part. Thank you for asking that question because I was going to come back to another meeting to answer that question.
Okay.
I received this letter June 26, 2026. It was loaded in the barrel, ready to go. Do the ayes have it? The ayes have it. Click, click, bang. Sent to my house. Nobody can see a backhoe from my house. This is personal agendas are irritated at me because I don't mind following the law. Everybody should. But when somebody makes a law stupid, I'll stand up and say something. Okay. So the code enforcement officers are the ones that have a problem, is what I'm saying. And they're sliding stuff underneath your nose. So the next time Mr. Nick, I refer to him as Tricky Nicky, the next time he puts something in front of you, just look at it a little closer because he's sliding stuff underneath your noses.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your comment, sir. Other public comments?
Good evening. My name is Karen Hargis, and I was here a couple months ago. So I'm here just as a reminder of why I was here. I had spoken to you, the board, about the snow removal. I know this is the last thing that people want to hear. About the snow removal from the streets. And I had commented that I realized that as a resident of I live at 5594 Bainbridge Drive, sorry about that. But as a resident, I know that I am responsible for the snow to remove from my sidewalk, and I take care of that immediately. The only problem that I have is that when the township comes along, and Mr. Miller did discuss with me about this a little bit, that when the township comes along and they take all of the snow from the street and they deposit that snow onto my sidewalk, and that means that they are making me responsible for the snow that fell in the street, and I don't think that that should be happening that way. I don't expect the township to come to my sidewalk and shovel my sidewalk. I don't think that I should be made in the same instance to shovel the snow that falls out in the street. And I had offered a suggestion. Maybe you can remove the snow and take it someplace else and dump it. I don't expect an answer to this right away. I'm sure you have other pressing business that needs to be taken care of. But I am going to come here every once in a blue moon to remind you of the situation. I mean, at 80 years old, I do good taking care of my sidewalk. I can't afford to take care of the streets, no, either. So I'm just asking, discuss it. If you can't come up with something else, let me know. But I think I gave a very good suggestion of how you can remove some of this snow instead of putting it on my sidewalk. I don't know if anyone else is having this problem or not. I know that I am. And I'm just asking for help because this will be coming along really soon. I mean, right now we're in summer, but winter is approaching and it is coming. So I'm asking for your help.
Did we give you a call since the last time you were here?
No, but I did talk to Mr. Miller a
Okay.
little bit after the meeting, and he answered some of the questions. But I have not heard anything else since then.
So
But
we'll-
I just want to do this as a reminder, because I know you're not going to do anything about this right away. You have other things that you have to do. But I'm going to come here every now and then just to let you know that it is a situation that's dear to my heart, and I'm asking for help.
Okay.
The second thing that I want to bring to your attention, Claremont has become a very active community, which is a good thing. But I'm finding, especially on Banbridge, people are driving really fast. You can't say that they're speeding because there are no signs up saying what the speed limit is. So what can be done to help us? Because this is definitely becoming a problem. My driveway empties into Banbridge.
Mhm.
So this is something that we really need to look at. The traffic is get heavy at times, and they get really fast. So I'm asking also, I know a neighbor came about 10 years ago and spoke to someone on the township board, so he says. And he was told at that time that it would interfere with the plowing of the snow. So I don't know if that's an issue or not, but I do know, traveling in Susquehanna Township and over at the osteopathic hospital, they have these, sugar nut. It's not high, but it's something that you have to slow down to go over. You just can't, pardon? Oh, thank you, Mr. Miller, speed bump. They do have speed bumps. Is this something that you could look at for this community and for some of the streets that are really having a problem with people speeding? So
Yeah.
that's mine.
No, thank you for your comment. So, first of all, somebody's going to reach out to you regarding those two issues, just to have a conversation with you of our perspective. But I know that the township is analyzing speeds on streets all over the township, right? I know the police officers, our public traffic safety folks are doing that. So, we can have them take a look at your street as well.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I will be back in a couple more months just to let you know that I'm still
Always good
here.
to see you, Ms. Hargis.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a response. When you were last here, I tried to get to you, but you got out of the meeting so quickly. I wanted to suggest, because there was a whole discussion that night, if I am recollecting correctly, about the snow removal process, and we are, if I'm remembering correctly, we're advertising that the snow removal trucks will be in neighborhoods at a certain time. So my suggestion to you that night was going to be, wait until you see that the trucks have come into your community and done their snow removal part before you do your sidewalk shoveling. So you're not creating double work for yourself. But I didn't get to suggest that to you because I couldn't get to you quick enough.
Well, I think I have 2 more minutes of my 5 minutes.
Okay.
I've tried that. The only problem is when the township comes with their truck, they're not only moving the snow, but a lot of other stuff that's in the snow. And when you put that, for instance, the apron, it is so hard to move in that snow because you're not just moving snow, you're moving whatever they put down to help to remove the snow. So you have that on top of the fresh snow that's coming. For me, it's harder, and I did try that. I tried waiting till they came, and it was doubly hard for me because I had more that I had to move. So I did try that, and for me, it just didn't work. It probably does for someone else, but it doesn't work for me.
Okay, we'll reach.
Only because of what they put in on the streets to, I guess, to help keep the snow melted or stuff. When they come by and they plowing all that stuff, all that is that mixed in with the snow, and then that is deposited on your apron. Heaven forbid that I had to have a doctor's appointment one time, and my whole apron was plowed in, and it was, I could not move it because you had the fresh snow and you had the snow from the street. So yeah, I did try that, and for me it didn't work. But thank you for the suggestion.
Thank you, Ms. Hodges.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Mike, can
okay.
we have Matt get in touch?
Pardon me?
Can we have Matt get in touch with her and explain the process? Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon.
Mr. Johnson.
And again, I'm a little rough today. Didn't get my electric back on until this morning, so I'm not as prepared as I wanted to be. But before I get into the reason I'm here, and it's the compost site, the horrendous conditions that I continue to suffer, I thought it was extremely important for me to address an issue. I couldn't get here sooner. I don't want to take away from my time, but I think it's important I say this. I was saddened to see that Dr. Stewart stepped down, and I had been coming to meetings for some time, and the level of personal attacks and attacks on the board, to me, in some cases were probably not warranted, and I'm not going to say all cases, but in some cases. And I also understand that when some people get up here, like myself, we get up here because sometimes we're angry. The gentleman before, we're here and we don't intend on losing our temper, but sometimes we do. I get that. But at the same time, the members of this township, we voted in the board. And I think all of you should have the opportunity to have an opportunity, coming in new. I've never taken on a job where I walked in day one and I was proficient, okay? There was always a learning curve. And I expect there's a learning curve for you folks as well. I don't expect you all to be attorneys. I expect you to come in from different walks of life, sit down behind closed doors, not agree on everything, okay? Agree to disagree. But get the work of the township done, and hopefully at the end of your term, you'll walk away and you can look back and be proud of what you accomplished. That would be my expectation. And again, sometimes we do get heated, and I can tell you over the years, if anybody should have lost their temper, it would have been me. Going back some years ago, and again, if someone comes at me and it's a falsehood, I'm going to probably lash back out, but hopefully I'm going to control my temper and keep some type of decorum. But I do recall when I was told once that I was at a meeting and I was almost made to look like, what is he talking about? He's exaggerating, because I said somebody came into the compost site at 2 o'clock in the morning, fired up the front end loader and loaded up a large truck. And before I said anything else, they all sort of attacked me. And then finally I said, go over to the police and get the report, because I had the police come and report it, okay? And that brings me into where I'm at today. Again, we had someone fire up the backhoe at 6:39 is when it woke me up. I don't know how long they were in there before the noise actually penetrated my house and woke me. I did report it to DEP. I did send a letter to the entire board. There was a web email address that supposedly was supposed to go to the board. I don't know if you received it or not, but I did send that the day that it occurred. And since then, we're still getting, I don't know how much time I have, but we're still getting, the other day, a large truck went through, pulling out a large plume of dirt, literally covered the house. It's covered, by the time I got into the house, it was in my eyes. I can go back all the way. We can pick a date. You can throw a dart at the calendar, and I can start. Tuesday, I'll just pick one. Tuesday, May 19th, 7:32 a.m. Awoken the backup alarms, loud continuous engine roar vibrating my bedroom. Health issues due to lack of proper sleep. And that goes on. 741, tremendous loud banging. Assumed bucket striking the side of a dump truck bed. Health issues causing my blood pressure to rise. At 8:27, loud beeping noise, bucket banging, engine noise, airborne waste, noise polluting my home continues. And that goes 8:30, 8:37, 8:38, 8:40. At 8:40, excessive loud bucket banging, backup alarms penetrating through my house, violation of the general permit. This goes on, 8:51, 8:58, 9:35. I can pick another day. We can go to May 20th. Tractor trailer, dump truck, exit within 90 feet of my house, vibrations and sound, very loud within my home. Again, violation of the general permit. A lot of the times when these trucks are moving, I have in here airborne waste. I have pictures of it. It continues. I'm not sure what they're spraying, where the water is being laid down. If even during the grinding, you can just see it filter into the air and go. I just recently spoke with another agency that confirmed that particulate matter is very dangerous at the very finest particles. I did send something to the board some time ago, a letter indicating about the particulate matter. Once again, I believe all three of my children, because they were young, over the years are now suffering long-term health effects because of that particulate matter. And I think other neighbors need to be concerned as well. And so I don't want to overstate, but thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Other public comments? Mr. Purdy.
Yes, J. Purdy, 4731 Duke Street. Just wanted to give you a little bit of good news tonight. The New Side Cemetery Restoration Project. Last fall, the volunteers removed a number of old dying trees from around the cemetery that threatened the cemetery. And after this weekend, I can say that undoubtedly, if we hadn't taken those trees out, they would have wrecked our colonial era headstones in the 1924 memorial put up by the Daughters of the American Revolution. I just wanted to give you some good news. We had a little bit of damage to the fence, picking up a lot of smaller branches, but the teamwork and the planning and the coordination came out and gave us an affirmative outcome from what was a devastating weekend for many people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Purdy. And let me just say, David Doyle did give me a tour of the cemetery, and the work that has been done is amazing, right? It's amazing. And so congratulations to all the volunteers, to you and everyone for the great work restoring a historic site in Lower Paxton Township. So thank you for that. Other public comments? Mr. Miller.
Good evening. William Miller, 4311 Crestview. With Miss Hart on that snow, it happens in the snow, and I can say that they're going to call you. I've had nothing but excellent things happen talking with Matt, so it can happen. If it happens, though, I'm sure if you call, they'd knock it out, or I'll give you my number. I actually, this winter, I went to a number of intersections that some of your former employees called me. I have a V-plow, and I punch it, you snap it, and I had to get it off the corners. It happens, though. And with this, I caution, like with the Wenrick Street approval for the building the first 750 homes, it's an NDD set up, but they've got cul-de-sacs in there, which are not supposed to have. Where's that snow going to go? Do we want to, my point is, do you really want to take ownership of any kind of a roadway where you have to spend phenomenal amounts of money doing detailed snow removal, called loading it, hauling it away, when there should be a right-of-way or easement where you can push everything around? They're going to have to give up a lot. Well, that might cost them a lot of money, but I think if they want to get your final approvals, in the long run, that would go on forever, that you'd have to spend that kind of money. So the snow thing reminded me of just the forethought. I've mentioned this before, and they're continuing with the project, but I think there should be some some tweaking of it to save the township money, or they can have their own association, their dues can pay to remove that snow. The situation here on with these trees, the township responded, a lot of people responded. It was an event that you don't have normally. But when I stopped down by Mr. Purdy's house, I'm pulling out off of his street. To the left, tree branches are overhanging. I had to edge out, edge out, edge out. I've complained on Colonial where we had the speeding, and they've done an excellent job with the speed enforcement. You still have to edge out, edge out. It's a state road. Here we go back to the township and versus the state, and who's going to trim it. It's getting down to the point, there are clearly defined right-of-ways for every road in this Commonwealth and in this township, but I just can never seem to be able to find out what they are. So pulling in here tonight, if you look behind you, when you walk out, look up, there's one dead tree to the right, there's another tree that's 3/4 dead. Where does the township become involved? I'm trying to be proactive in the future. A lot of the trees I saw, the ones that are coffined, there's a curb and a sidewalk, the roots die. You see all the dead root mass. Well, that tree was rotten. Well, it's been rotten a long time because we killed it. We plant the wrong trees in the wrong spots. Davy tree and asplunch when I was a younger guy. They came around as a rite of passage, and they trimmed everything heavily. I almost think these were gentlemen that were in World War II in Korea. They had a mission, and they did it all the time. Now we don't. So I'm at least to protect, our residents. What type of a proactive plan can we have? And it links back to the question I've had before: who owns what? The tree on Colonial Road by Goose Valley, between Old Goose Valley and Old Colonial. That thing's been laying there for 1.5 years. The property belongs to a former township person. I mean, I know the guy. He's a nice guy. Do we send him a letter? But on the PennDOT map, it goes the whole way up. It's not on his property. It's on PennDOT property. But PennDOT will tell you it's from the white line to the white line. Oh, and you went through that. We went through. But they would have to provide that to me, they'd have to provide the legal documentation. When I look at, are those maps with the Commonwealth correct? Of course not. I mean, everything's a little tweaky. Those things you use to hunt, they're not that accurate. They're off by a little bit, but they're not that off. Just like the sidewalk in disrepair over there by Seed East again on Rutherford Road. All comes back to PennDOT. But you can't send somebody a letter and you, the homeowner, have to clean that up. Well, that doesn't seem so fair. Or PennDOT, or is it the township? When you have these right-of-ways, I know there are easements. Do we have copies of those? You have branches ready to snap on Lock Willow or on Old Colonial Colonial Club right at Lock Willow. They've been like that for about 6-7 months. They're on Comcast lines, I believe. But who gets the letter? The landowner? But there's a right-of-way, and these right-of-ways should be maintained. So I'm saying we're going to have a lot less problems for all of our constituents. You won't have giant trees falling down. You won't have this. But we don't have a person. We don't have a licensed arborist who can make these decisions. But in driving around, I'm seeing a lot of dead trees. I see a lot of stuff that's ready to come down. There's a lot of widow makers up there, and I think the citizens deserve a whole lot better than to have crap falling down off their neighbor's tree. And a lot of times it's their stuff that falls on your homeowner should pay for that. That's a lot, and then your insurance goes up. It's an act of God. No, you're an insurance guy, it doesn't matter. You're going to end up getting an increase. But beyond that, the last thing, I'm running over time, back with the landfill, or the yard waste. I was out there today. The place is hopping. It's packed. I mean, it's out to the edge. There'll be noise. We've discussed some simple things. What about a door control? What about the automatic fence so people can't get in there early and bang around? These are some simple solutions. That's not rocket science. The fence rolls. It rolls in and it rolls back. It opens up in the morning. If you have to get in, you guys have fobs. I mean, Matt would have a fob to check something. I see a water meter thing there. I know you're bringing another 2-inch line. Why can't some stand up?
So Mr. Miller, just to let you know, I know that the township manager and our team are working on a lot of different strategies and plans to mitigate a lot of the things that are going on, at the compost facility. I just want you to know that,
Yeah.
right? There are plans in place to mitigate a lot of it. Just wanted you to know that. And if you could just take a minute.
I'd like to be at those meetings.
Okay.
I've been going to that place since I worked for Nick Evanoff, and I
Okay.
buried 1,000 tons of shingles in that place.
Okay.
Everything's in there. But now, their sprinklers are easy right now. Your water truck is at the VOTEC. Have somebody else fix it.
All right.
There's just things we can do right now that are simplistic and easy. And I'd
Right.
like to see something like that happen.
Got it.
I'm
All
not
right.
talking to berms. I'm just talking those.
Bill,
All right.
I just want to mention about, we are looking at a lot of different options, but right now, we are in a legal matter, Lee, with DEP, that
Right.
right now, we don't know what they're going to require us to do, and we don't want to put anything in until we know exactly that that's going to satisfy their issue. So I know you're saying it's simple, but it's simple to you standing there telling us what you think is simple, but there's a legal component to this, and there's a agreement that's going to have to come about down the road through our nuisance control plan, and we are,
I understand.
we're
I see
working
your-
with DEP, so we can't.
Just do A, B, and C and have to change that out, kind of like, I understand.
So just understand, we are proactive, but we're held up right now.
Well, I just think you can
I
control the
don't think-
ingress and egress, I think can be controlled, and whoever's doing that, they need to stop. These companies can't go in before 7 o'clock.
I don't disagree, and if that's happening, I'm surprised, and I will talk
is
with
it-
the Public Works
Is
Director
that what
tomorrow.
it is? They're going
I'm
in
not here to
before
get,
7?
I'm not here to like say yes, no, it's not happening, but I'm just saying right now, I'm surprised. That's the first I'm hearing
Right.
of this. As manager of the township, that's the first I'm hearing anybody's in there before 6 o'clock.
Well, isn't
Okay.
it 7?
Yeah.
I thought it was 7 before you can do any kind of loud, banging, noisy type stuff. I thought it was 7. I don't know. I could be
Okay,
wrong on
so
that.
if you could
There's
just-
a level of frustration
yeah.
here that right now, we are stuck in limbo right now until DEP.
Some of the ideas I've discussed with other developers,
Okay.
I'll simply write those down and bring it.
Right.
It wouldn't harm, it does no harm to have additional information and additional thoughts. Because some of the thoughts from one particular developer in this township, I think were outstanding. And it's going to serve a point to make some connections too with the new park and so on.
We really got to move
I
on.
understand.
So thank you
Thank
for
you
your
very much.
comments. Thank you, Mr. Miller. We'll work on those. Other public comment? All right, seeing none, let's move on to item number 6 on the agenda, chair and board members' comments. And I have a few comments to make. First of all, I did attend with several other supervisors, Supervisor Thompson, Supervisor Lindsay, and I know they will have some comments about that as well. The July 4th celebration sponsored by the Lower Paxton Township Foundation, it was an awesome event. We recognized a lot of our volunteer citizens and, recognized, the birthday of this country, 250 years. So anyway, I just want to let you know, it was my honor to be there and a pleasure meeting all the folks, that are there as well. I did stop by the UPS. They had a 5-year anniversary, UPS, right, in the off of 22. They've been there for 5 years. Great folks, great business owners, and it was, again, a pleasure for me to be there. And I did attend the police academy graduation, so seeing the police officer here today, taking the oath, is just an amazing thing. Felt, a lot of pride, being at that graduation, and hearing the name of Lower Paxton Township, be called, right? So, amazing experience. And again, thank you to all of our police officers and, our director, Kashiba, for doing great work. So, other public comments from the board?
Excuse me, do I get more than 5 minutes? Okay.
You can have as long as you want.
First of all, I just wanted to thank the police department, the fire department, the public works employees for the great job that they have done through this storm. Today we had the opportunity to be on, yesterday and today at 11 o'clock, to be on a call with PPL for elected officials, managers. And this is the worst storm they have had in 100 years. Everybody says, well, what about Sandy? That was a flood. This was an actual storm. So I want to thank them. I know the fire company had a total of 98 calls over the weekend. We had a collapsed roof at an apartment at one time, and at the same time we had a house fire and trees falling everywhere. So we're almost cleaned up. I had my monthly meeting with Matt today, and Jeff came in, and they're almost cleaned up. So if you do hear of anything, you see of anything, please get in touch with the township so that we are made aware that there is still some trees down. This coming week, on Monday, will be Parks and Recreation Week. So I wanted to thank the Parks and Recreation. They have a activity planned every night of the week. So if you go on to the Lower Paxton Township Parks and Recreation Facebook page, you'll be able to see. Oh, I'm sorry, were you going to say that? I'm sorry. Okay, you can finish it when I'm done. Okay, you'll be able to see what all's happening. I've been asked for years and years, and Manager Gossard, Manager Gossard made it happen. And so Planning Commission is now televised on YouTube, Verizon 21, Comcast 22. That is the first Wednesday of every month. At 7 o'clock. Also, the Zoning and Hearing Board meetings are also televised, again, Verizon, Comcast, and YouTube. And so, and that is the fourth Thursday, and that meeting is at 6 o'clock. So thank you, Mike. I really
Thank you, Mr.
appreciate
Gossard.
that. Yeah, we really needed that. So on Saturday also, at the July 4th, we had a special guest there. And George Ivanoff, who has lived in our township for 66 years, he is a World War II U.S. Marine veteran. That'll make you happy, Mike. Marine veteran. George has also received 2 Purple Hearts. And George will be 101 years old on July the 24th. And he led us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and I want to thank him for bearing the heat. I mean, it was hot out there on Saturday, but he sat through the whole program for an hour. And George, if you're watching, thank you again for participating in the July 4th celebration. On Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday of this week, because of all the devastation that we've had, the compost pile is going to be open to non-permit holders of just residents only from 8 to 5. So if you do have some debris that you have to get rid of, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday from 8 to 5, you will probably are going to have to show a license, a utility bill, or your registration. We're just trying to be good to the community because of this devastation with the storm. So I think that's all I have.
Okay. Other supervisor comments?
I'm going to do a quick follow-up just to what Robin just said. I had other comments, but I'm going to do an announcement regarding the recreation. But what Robin just said about the compost, as a supervisor, I just want to ask the residents of Lower Paxton to please quit dumping along the public roadways because you happen to have yard debris and don't know where to take it. Call the township building. I happen to live along a roadway with a wooded one side and have noticed a number of residents in my particular neighborhood coming and dumping their yard waste across the road. So we do have a compost pile. That's why we have it. And we are opening it for folks, like Robin said, that have no permits in order to get rid of your yard waste. So that is a comment for me.
Thank you. Any other supervisor comments?
I would just like to express my happiness about the 250 celebration Polly Murphy Award ceremony. We had about 15 to 17 volunteers who won the Polly Murphy Award. 2 of them were nominees that I recommended. Pastor Chris Woodard, he was here previously with the Central Dolphin basketball team, because they won the championship. And Mr. Tom Berry, he works for the he volunteers with the senior van service. So we were quite happy to get those awards out to recognize those individuals' impact on the community. We have a number of letters that we've been receiving from people who are taking advantage of the senior van service, so it really is a service that is very much appreciated. And I found out from, I believe, Mr. George Scott, who coordinates the senior van service, that about 50% of the drivers are women. So I was very happy to hear that. So it was a great morning. It was good to get out of there before it got too hot, but everyone was very appreciative of the ceremony and the awards that they received.
Thank you. And just a comment on the 250 celebration that the township scheduled for Sunday. That's been rescheduled because of the weather, rescheduled for Friday at George Park. Where's it going?
Oh, it's at Bright Bill.
I'm sorry, Heroes Grove. Heroes Grove, from 6 to
8. 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
I have
right?
no
So-
announcements.
Yes, you do.
And that will, on Friday night from 6 to 8, that will just be the Colin Alvarez Band that will be playing from 6 to 8.
Okay. All right. So let's move on now to item number 7 on the agenda, manager's report. Mr. Gossard.
Yes, just kind of a recap of the storm. Saturday night, when the storm hit, we opened our emergency operations center, which remained open throughout the weekend. I was in constant contact with Adam and his emergency management team, and where the incidents that were happening, where we were responding, and where we were deploying resources. We have disaster declaration on the agenda this evening, and that is only as a precaution, as if the governor does declare a disaster emergency for this area of Pennsylvania, we will be able to go and recoup the costs that we incurred during the storm overtime with our staff, police officers and firefighters and public works staff, as well as any equipment, material, fuel, or anything like that we used. We met Friday or Sunday morning. We made the unfortunate and I guess needed decision to cancel the 250 or our Star Spangled event on the township, but we are going to have the rain date, which we did establish that prior to us knowing it was going to rain or anything like that. But it seemed to be the right decision at the time, and it appeared to be the right decision at that. In regards to the compost facility, I know there's a lot going on out there, and there's going to be a lot more. And Mr. Johnson, I'd like to talk to you after the meeting here this evening, because there are some, we aren't sitting on our hands. We are out looking at other possibilities of sites, collaboration with other municipalities, processes that might be beneficial both for the township and for the residents and things. So there's a lot of different things that we are looking at. We're not sitting on our hands. I know this is a frustration, but I asked again for patience and I know you've provided a lot of patience, and that's and I appreciate that. Matt's been on this job for a little over a year now. I've been on for 8 months, and I think we've made a lot of progress on where we need to be and what direction we need to be headed. There's negotiations that are happening, or possible negotiations that could be happening down the future, depending on what might be happening development-wise in the township. So there are a lot of different things we are thinking. You are always top of mind for me, Mr. Johnson, and the community out there. I am trying my best to find these areas, but there is a level of frustration that we can't shut the site down tomorrow. We have to continue to let you know what we're moving forward with and how the possibilities that are out there. And a lot of the things that we might tell you, I trust we would do it in confidence, because a lot of those things may not happen, may not come to fruition, and I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. But I want to let you know that we are working diligently at many different options out there right now, okay? So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gossard, for your report. Moving on to item number 8 on the agenda, item number 8.1, improvement guarantees. Mr. Gossard.
Yes, this evening we have one improvement guarantee. It is for the Estates of Union Deposit subdivision plan. It's requesting extension as they could not perform an inspection before the Board of Supervisors meeting. This project was established in July of 2021. There are still 3 items that need to be completed. They have completed all the items for their stormwater management plan and are hoping to have this plan closed out very soon. So while we had this on the agenda because we need to, I'm thinking in the next 2 or 3 weeks, this will be taken care of.
Okay, do we need to vote on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. So do I have a motion to approve the improvement guarantees as presented by Mr. Gossard?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays have the same right. Okay, the improvement guarantee has been approved. On to item number 8.2 on the agenda, authorization to vacate the paper roads. Mr.
I'll defer to our solicitor.
Thank
Mr.
you, Mike.
Stannett.
So yeah, here, this is really just to cover our bases, because I recently started looking at this with the Director of Engineering, and I'm actually not 100% certain that we're going to need to officially vacate the streets, because I think they might have, by operation of law, already reverted back to the neighboring property owners. But we are seeking authorization to vacate certain paper streets in the event that is necessary. I just haven't had a chance to review the property records yet to make that determination, but they would like to keep the projects moving forward. The one that's specifically high on the agenda is Hazel Street to help facilitate a sanitary sewer connection for a property owner seeking to build a tiny house. And if that is a public street, the costs of installing the sewer line are astronomical. If it is no longer a public street, which I think is probably the case, her costs go down significantly. So that's the one that's first on the list. In terms of the next steps, if we are required to move forward, the hope would be that we could do a vacation by agreement. That's where we agree with the property owner to vacate it. They forego any claims for damages from no longer having a public road. The third option, which likely wouldn't occur here, but would be the standard vacation process whereby you schedule a public hearing, you have an ordinance, and you vacate a street. Again, I don't think for either. I think there's one other one that we're working on. I don't recall the name of it. I think both of those we're going to be able to bypass this, mostly the entire process.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stannett. Any public comment?
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
Counselor, so can we get a list of all the streets that we're looking to vacate? Because there is quite a few in the township that we have had issues with ever since I came back when I was on the board in 2014. So
I can work on that.
Yeah, I just think they all need to be taken care of, that we need to have the entire list, and they all need to be taken care of at one time.
I would not recommend trying to do them all at one time.
Can I ask why?
Well, I'm admittedly a little ignorant at the moment as to the number. In my experience, most municipalities often find out there are a lot more than they anticipate. And the reason I'm hoping to not have to go through the process is you usually, a lot of times you won't get unanimous consent from all of the adjacent property owners. I'm 6 months in to try and negotiate that with 3 property owners in another municipality. So I think if there are ones that, maybe the process would be evaluate the high priority ones, determine if anything needs to be done, if it's a true paper alley, paper street, and if that's the case, then that's largely a private issue at that point, because if it's been 21 years, it's reverted back to each side of the former road. They have an easement amongst themselves for continued pass-through. But then if there are others that we need to consider, I would strongly recommend trying to go the vacation by agreement route, because if you go the public hearing and ordinance route, the township is open to board of view hearings for each property owner's potential damages from losing that value associated. So I would recommend evaluating it. We'll tackle these high priority ones now, and then we'll see about a list and kind of figuring out what the scope is.
Okay, I'd like to, just for our knowledge, just to know how many there are. And to me, it's called housekeeping. Let's clean it up and, like those slivers of land I talked to Mike about, we need to, work on those too. So, okay, thank you.
Are we dealing with specific properties with this authorization?
This is mostly related to Hazel, and I don't recall the second one, but I think that's also going to be one that's likely going to already vacate by operation of law.
Okay, so we're dealing with two properties then, okay.
And I think it might be two properties that are,
I would actually say
Yeah.
it's two roads.
right.
And I think the
Two
issue
roads.
with the second one, and I only learned about this last week, is I don't think we're gonna get agreement amongst all of the property owners to have it vacated. So that's why I'm hoping that that is another one that I can just say, look, private issue, this has already happened by operation of law, and each of you own to the center line, and you all need to figure out your differences amongst yourselves.
Okay. Other, do we have any supervisor comments?
I'm sorry, I just commented.
No, additional,
Yeah.
that's fine, additional supervisor
Yeah.
comments.
We do. Or I do, or questions. I'm inclined not to vote in favor of this tonight, and the reason is, I think there's a lot of ambiguity in what is a paper road, and I pulled out my own deed, and the reason I did is when we moved here, we have a right-of-way that runs between us and our neighbors, or an easement, or a construction easement, or, according to my deed, it's an avenue. I think that there is too many unknowns. When I called as a resident, and I called the township many years ago to say, well, how do we resolve this, or what is this? And the answer was kind of, well, we're not really sure, because a lot of these developments were built. I happen to live in Precinct 1, so we were the first one built. But I was explained to that it was possible that if I negotiated with my neighbors and we redeeded, came to an agreement. So the reason I'm going to say I'm inclined to vote no this evening is I feel like we don't have a process to follow that's consistent when this comes up, whether it's a single property owner that has a paper road that runs through their property, or whether there's multiple property owners that are affected. We don't have a process. And to me, oftentimes in the past, the board has just done one thing one year and something else the next year, and I don't think that's very fair. I think I would rather see a agreed upon process on how to address these.
Okay, if I can chime in. The one on Hazel Street has, she wants to put this tiny house there. And the main reason for this coming is because she has been held back from doing this. And I feel that because of this one, and it will, and if she has to go the other way, it's significantly more expensive for her to put the sewer and the stormwater in. Where if we do this with this paper street, and it's a dead end, it's right out in, there's only maybe 7 or 8 houses on that street in Paxtonia, and she wants to build a house, and she wants to build it here in Lower Paxton, and I think that's why this one is here tonight, because she's been held off, because of the paper, paper alley.
I did read the email, so you feel that there's a sense of urgency in
There
this
is
particular
yeah.
situation.
And nothing against the board last year, but the board last year, they did something and it prohibited her from doing it. And now she's asking again, and because she wants, it's going to save her a lot of money. And I feel that we can do our due diligence by helping her out to do this tonight.
So I can also provide a memo on this topic generally that we've done for other municipalities. I started that process. It is Pennsylvania, so I shouldn't be surprised by this, but it varies by the type of municipality. The case law is different between boroughs and second class, so I'd need to make a few changes to a memo I did for another client. But I think that would, to Kate's point, would do two things. It would outline that somewhat odd process, but but it would describe really the three different options that would present itself with each of these. And unfortunately, it's hard to do a process that would cover all because it's so fact determinative. Whether or not we have to do anything is based on a lot of factors. And hopefully that's where most of them fall. But I can provide that memo. I think we can evaluate from there if we want to do a more formal process, or if that memo is good enough to educate the board on,
Wanna go
what
forward, yeah.
the landscape is.
Going forward, right? Okay.
But I to your point, I think Hazel is the important one, and I wish I'd gotten to this sooner, but we were talking about it on agenda day. So we put it on the agenda so we could get something moving if I wasn't able to determine that nothing was needed by meeting day, and unfortunately, I didn't quite get there.
And I think this one is the number one, the number one, for her to be able, and, welcome her to Lower Paxton Township, so.
All right, any other supervisor comments? Do I have a motion then to authorize, vacate the paper roads?
I will make that motion, Chairman.
Is there a second?
I have a question.
Do I have a second? Okay, I second that motion. Any discussion?
So is this just for Hazel Street?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll make, yeah.
Clarify the motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that the paper street is just for Hazel Street for Roberta Moyer.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Okay, it has been approved.
Great. And I'm sure she will be very appreciative.
All right, moving on to item number 9, on the agenda. Action to accept the resignation of Dr. Charles E. Stewart from the Board of Supervisors. On June 17th, a letter dated June 17th, 2025, Supervisor Stewart submitted his resignation, and I'll just read a portion of that letter. Dear members of the Board of Supervisors, please accept this letter as my formal resignation from my position as Lower Paxton Township Supervisor, effective immediately. Serving the residents of Lower Paxton Township has been both an honor and a privilege. I am grateful to the many residents who placed their trust and confidence in me and afforded me the opportunity to serve the community. He wishes the township and its employees well, and the residents well as well. There are other components to the letter which I will not read. If anybody would like a copy of that letter, please make your request to the township manager, and a copy of that letter will be provided. All right, so do we have any public comment? No. That's next on the agenda, right? All right. So any supervisor comments? Okay, seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry.
I would like to make a comment. First, I would like to say that Dr. Stewart did ask me to read his letter of resignation in full. However, I will defer to the chair saying that this letter is available. It does not require a Freedom of Information request. Simply ask the township. And I will just say that Mr. Johnson's comments concerning some of the vitriol comments that have been directed towards the board were in fact a catalyst for Dr. Stewart's resignation. As a supervisor, I just want to comment and defer back to the former Board of Supervisors, particularly a comment made by Supervisor Paul Navarro at the time. If anybody wants to see that these types of public comments, maybe with Dr. Stewart, they're escalating, but they have caused the resignation of 5 supervisors now in the last 13 months. And it's unfortunate, and I'm very sad because I happen to like Dr. Stewart, and I think that he would have made and continue to make a great supervisor. But I do want to say and go back to the residents of Lower Paxton Township elected the supervisors. And what we ended up with at the end of 2025 was 4 interim supervisors on a board of 5. Therefore, it wasn't the voice total of the electors. It was the voice of the supervisors that appointed them. So already, beginning with the next vacancy, we will have 20% of our board filled with an interim supervisor for the remainder of the term. And we're not even 50% into the first year. So I just want to say this is a very serious thing that's occurring here on the board at Lower Paxton. We've seen it in other communities throughout the state and throughout the nation. But go back and see Paul Navarro's comments, supervisor comments in 2025, and he pretty much said it all. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Scheib. Any other discussion? Do I have a motion to accept the resignation of Dr. Charles E. Stewart from the Board of Supervisors?
I make a motion to accept the resignation of Dr. Stewart.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify. Well, let's do a call vote. Ms. Smith?
Mrs. Lindsay,
Aye.
Ms. Scheib,
Aye.
Supervisor Campbell,
Aye.
Ms. Thompson.
Aye.
All right, the motion has been passed and the resignation has been accepted. Now we're going to go to item number 9.2 on the agenda, discussion of the process to fill the supervisor vacancy. And we're going to ask our solicitor, Mr. Stennett, to go through the process with us. And in talking with supervisors individually, the goal is absolutely to make everything transparent so that the public knows exactly what's going on in terms of the process. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Mr. Stennett.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I've had the numerous experiences going through this process, so we've got some recommendations on how we would suggest that the board go through the process. There's both the practical side, but then there's the legal side. So I'll start with the legal side. Timing of filling of vacancies is critical, and it really starts when the vacancy is created. And under the statute, it's created at the ladder of the vote of the board, which is tonight, or the date of the tendered resignation. So obviously tonight kicks off the time period to fill the vacancy. The board is required to do so within 30 days. If the board does not vote to fill the vacancy within 30 days, it then goes to the township's vacancy board, who has an additional 15 days from that to fill the position. If the vacancy board is unable to fill the position, the next step would be petition to the Dauphin County Court of Common Pleas to have a judge fill the seat. Usually that is not the will of the board, so I think that it's imperative to start the process. We have until essentially August 6th under the statute based on a 30-day period to fill the vacancy. And what we're suggesting is the best way to field interested candidates is to have an application process directed to the township manager to sort of oversee it for the board. Application would be available upon request from the township. Then the board, we would recommend holding advertised special meetings to interview the candidates with the intention of appointing no later than the township's August 3rd meeting, which is not the typical meeting night. So if everybody wants to make a note of that, due to National Night Out, correct, Mike? National Night Out is the 4th, so the August 3rd meeting will be on Monday. I think that's a pretty good overview, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yes, go ahead,
Can I
Supervisor
start?
Lindsay.
So they are going to go to Manager Gossard. I keep saying it. Gossard? Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike. Anyhow, and then my next question is, they'll come to the Board of Supervisors. I am requesting everybody that is sitting here that they do not get shared with anybody in the public, that they stay with us and no one sees them but us. So then my next question is, if we don't do the 30 days and it goes to the vacancy board, does the vacancy board chair just appoint from the applications that we have received, or can they appoint anybody?
The vacancy chair can vote to appoint, well, let me The vacancy board is essentially you all and the chair.
Right.
And from there, it would be another vote, but the purpose of the chair is frankly to break a tie. You're usually in the vacancy chair position because you need to break a tie.
Okay.
So that is the tiebreaker.
Okay, so
That tie it would practically speaking likely be from, the applicants. But the board itself does lose its ability to choose amongst itself. So it could go different routes if it goes to that.
So a vacancy board chair could appoint somebody that hasn't even applied. Am I hearing right?
Could bring someone else in.
Bring somebody into the mix?
Yes.
Yes, okay, that hasn't applied. Okay.
It would require two others to go along with that.
To a point.
Yes, yes. But, that chair can bring in any name. that he
Okay,
would-
that's exact, what you just said, that's exactly what I'm wanting. Am I allowed to voice my opinion at this time?
Yeah.
Okay, so just myself, what I would like to see, I would like to see an interim come in for the remainder of the 18 months, 17, 18 months, that will not be running in 2027, that does have some knowledge of.
Excuse me, point of order for just a second. Let me ask the chair and the solicitor. Is this the appropriate forum prior to even announcing when application will be accepted, what we're going to be looking for in a candidate? Because my understanding is right now, the only legal definition that we can go public with is they need to be a resident of Lower Paxton Township and live here for a year. What is it that you look for us? What is it that we should express publicly that we may be looking for as a supervisor? I'd like to ask that first.
Okay, that's fine, because we said discussion, so that's why
Right.
yeah.
Generally speaking, the only legal criteria that you could disqualify someone is not meeting the residency requirement. I would say, to your point, that is often stated as the ideal candidate and one that the board is looking for. However, in probably half of those instances where somebody says, yeah, I'm not going to run, they turn around and run anyway, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. So a lot of folks make that condition, and in a lot of instances, it's just not upheld by the potential candidate.
Okay, well, the only reason I'm saying is because then the residents can vote who they want to represent them. So that's
so-
just my, yeah.
So question, when are the applications due? And will we ask for a resume as a requirement or a resume option?
I would suggest a resume, and I don't know, do we have a form we can use, Mike?
We have an application that they can fill out,
Does it have like a resume?
they can put in their education level, their experiences and things of that sort.
And the resume would be optional then, right? I mean, they can submit a resume along with the application.
Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily, it's not legally disqualifying, but
Yeah.
if they don't submit them, then you could raise concerns with that and eliminate that candidate.
Yeah, but again, time is of the essence. So I think to the extent we know the date of when the applications are due, I think we start that right now so that everybody will know that the applications have to be in. And once the deadline is passed, it's passed. You will not be considered after that deadline.
Yeah, I think that what we had proposed in working with Mike kind of backwards is applications due on July 14th. It's not a hugely complicated application with potential interviews at the July 21st board meeting. And that gives you buffer to have additional interviews. If you're blown away by a candidate, you can appoint as soon as the 21st. But that would give you flexibility to have a longer period for potential interviews if you happen to get a number of candidates you'd like to bring in.
I would like to increase the requirements of the submission to an application that you find on our website, accompanied by a letter of interest along with a resume. As a supervisor, I would prefer not to have to compare, did somebody give me one piece of paper or a volume? how about, can the board at least agree professionally, as a supervisor, a interested candidate should be able to submit both a letter of interest and a resume along with the required application that says, I don't know, I don't have a criminal history or whatever it is that we do.
Right, and I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can request it. I think the application is the requirement. And folks who want to submit a letter of interest as well as a resume may feel free to do that. Because I think, as we look at the application and we deliberate about it and we think about it, right? But the more information we have, the better the chances for any candidate, I would believe.
Okay, go ahead, because then I have another question.
Let's say we get 20 applications, right? Let's talk about how we select from there. Do we individually as supervisors look at the 20 applications and we come up with our top 5 as a group? And how will we do that?
I think the easiest way would be for each supervisor to kind of reduce down the list, give that to Mike, and he can create sort of the interview candidates from that group out of the sort of common names. I think that's the easiest way to do it.
I have a question then, just to be certain that we're all on the same page. Will supervisors, I don't want to say be permitted because we can't be permitted or not permitted, but do we agree amongst ourselves that we will either be able to contact the applicants at our preference, or are we in agreement that we do not individually contact the candidates prior to the actual public interviews that we will be conducting?
That was my next question. And I think if we're having these meetings and the residents are invited to come, I think personally we should not be contacting them. I think the questions that we will be asking, the interaction here, I think that should be our contact, and the residents are going to be invited, to come and listen to the candidates.
And I totally agree. I think
agree with that also.
once we submit the 5 and the 5 top candidates, let's say 5 top candidates have been selected, yes, conversation should happen here, in the public, so the public can hear the questions and to hear the responses from the candidates. I agree.
So I'm puzzled. How are we going to, if we're not going to contact the candidate prior to the public interview, how are we going to whittle down to, say, 5 candidates?
Based on the application, in my opinion, and others can jump in,
Yeah,
based on the
that's-
application and based upon what other information they want to provide with us, a resume, a letter of interest.
I think part of the process is, when we talked about this, is that if an individual supervisor is contacting a potential applicant, then that supervisor is getting, or we don't, the public isn't seeing the question that's being asked and hearing the responses back as to why you made your decision to move forward in this direction. So I think not contacting them, but by basing it on their writing skills, their experience, all those things, I think that is where you would start your process. And then once you've identified those individuals that you want to interview, then that interview is done in public and they are asked the same questions as all the other candidates. So, and the public can view that, you can view that. The only people that will not be allowed in the room are the other potential candidates.
And that's a very good point, Mike, that they will all be asked the same exact questions, where if everybody's interviewing, everybody's asking 10 different questions, and so that was a very good point.
And I agree with that.
So then to clarify, if, say, for example, there's 20 candidates, because we're using that number 20, me, Supervisor Shy, would review 20 resumes and say, of these 20, I feel these particular 5 rise to the top. I would then give my preferences. Supervisor Thompson would give Mike her preferences, Supervisor Lindsay and Supervisor Campbell, and then Mike would look at each 5 of our preferences and see if there's common denominators as to who gets selected for an interview. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, one of the things that I was going to develop was a rubrics that you would use, and you would score on that rubrics, and then I would calculate those scores, and the top 5 people getting scores from all the supervisors will then be the ones interviewed.
Could we simply, use a range of let's say 1 to 10, right? And we all put a number with 10 being the highest and most favorable candidate on each of the applications and submit them back to Mike, then we will take a cumulative total for everybody, right? And it's sort of a simple rubrics, right?
That's right.
And then add up the total from all those numbers, and those will be, the highest scores will be the candidates.
Well, and that's what we do with the gaming grants. Yeah.
I'm okay with that process.
So, and then once we, and we're kind of rushing this a little bit because, number one, obviously, none of us planned for this. So I was planning on potentially being in Canada with my son fishing the week of the 25th or 27th. So we're kind of rushing this a little bit, and hopefully have the rubrics to us by Friday of next week. And then we would invite those who are the top 5 candidates for the interviews that we would like to have on the 21st. That is prior to our 21st supervisors meeting, and bring those, begin the interviews at like 4 o'clock. Give each candidate maybe a half hour, and then go through that process. And then, like Lee said, we can make that, or the supervisors can make that decision that evening on the 21st, or you can let it marinate a little bit and go to the 3rd of August, whatever you want to do.
So we need to get back to you, Mike, by, what date is that, that Friday? Is that the
That,
18th?
yeah.
The 17th?
17th, yeah.
So we, supervisor, need to get you all of our information
Right.
back, the scoring, by the 17th.
So we can
Okay.
do the scoring and then invite the potential candidates that are the top 5.
So we're saying applications and supporting documentation should be submitted no later than July 14th. And we, as supervisors, will score within 72 hours and get them back to you.
I know that's a tough timeline, but it was an attempt to avoid having another night of meetings. I mean, you can tell me to go smoke a pipe, and that's not what we're going to do. This is just a suggestion. So, and I understand I understand your concern with the amount of time to review and get the rubrics to me.
Would you mind if I asked for Saturday, July the 18th instead of the 17th?
Yeah, it's just a matter of us, the courtesy of making, well, I guess when the candidates are going to be applying, they must keep that night of the 21st open.
Right, but I'm just asking that we get our recommendation to you by the
That's fine.
18th.
I just
Okay.
wanted to, yeah, the
I'm okay
18th,
with
if you
that.
do it Saturday, I will do the math on Saturday and then get the invite out to those individuals that meet the 5, and I will let the supervisors know who those 5 are.
Okay, and we're gonna let folks who are not being considered know as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
May I ask a question then? If there are several candidates, will all of their names be made public as to who applied with interest, or how will we work that?
I'm going to defer to the solicitor on that one, so.
Most people don't make all of the names public,
Okay.
but obviously the ones selected for the interviews are known.
And I'm okay with that. All right, so if I can ask our solicitor to just summarize the discussion here so that we're all clear on the process, the dates and so forth, and share that with all the supervisors so that we're clear on it as well. So when it comes to the public knowing about the process, is there anything going to be posted to let folks know?
I will just simply take this process, put it onto the website and on our socials, and just lay out the process, and those interested, give them the information in which they need to get the application to the right place by the deadline. And
So
I would,
just- Go ahead. So that's applications due on July 14th. Recommendations to Mike by the 18th. And potential interviews on the 21st with potential appointment then or the August 3rd meeting. And the application being the application, letter of interest, and resume.
Okay.
Are we going to require online only or both online and a lot of people will want to hand deliver
Yeah, that's a
their
great,
application?
Great question.
that's a great question, and I was thinking that just before you said that, and I think the chair said that, no acceptance after the 16th. I can't, if it's postmarked the 16th, but we don't get it till the 18th or something or 14th. It's postmarked the 14th, and we don't get it till the weekend. That's going to be a problem. So I would recommend either you drop it off in person, or you would email it to me.
So received by the 14th.
Right, received by the 14th.
Online or hard copy.
That's correct.
Received
Yeah.
by 4 p.m.
Yes.
So email is an option as well, email or. Okay. All right, any other comments? All right, so that is the process that we will follow.
Oh, good question. Are we, what is
All
the,
right,
clo- what is
go
the
ahead.
closing date? So the applications are due by the 14th, okay. All right, so that's the closing, that's the closing, okay.
All right, public comment.
Anthony Cristillo. Robin, I thank you for everything you laid out. I hope that the process this time, because we've really been going through a hard time in this township over the past 18 months, whatever it's been. And I hope this time we get the most qualified or select the most qualified for this position that has the best interest of the township at heart. One question I have is, can the vacancy board chairman resign his position and submit for this position?
The only requirement in the law is that the vacancy chair cannot vote for himself
Okay.
or herself.
And can resign and submit an application, though?
That would create a real timing issue for an actual appointment.
Okay. Only reason why I bring that up is we don't need to go backwards, is my opinion. We need real good leadership on this board. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Cristillo. Other public comment? Mr. Purdy.
Yes, you need my address, 4731 Duke Street. I am the vacancy board chair. However, I feel that if I were to submit an application for this position, it would be a conflict of interest for me to apply. And so if the board requires or requests, I'm prepared to resign as vacancy board chairman, because I don't want to use this to expound upon myself tonight. I would like to apply for the position. And I had asked earlier informally if I could get an opinion from the solicitor if it is a violation or any form of non-transparency for me to request the position, because I am prepared to resign as vacancy chair.
Mr. Purdy, I would like to ask you a question. Why did you accept the position as vacancy chair? Because the only job of the vacancy chair is to vote on filling a vacancy. So if you knew in advance that you would be interested should a vacancy occur, why would you accept the position?
I did not know that a vacancy was going to occur at this point. In accepting that position, I was expecting all 5 of you to serve to the end of your terms. This came as a surprise, this sudden resignation. So, given my experience, and again, I don't want to expound on anything, I felt a desire to step forward.
Okay, so, our solicitor has answered that question. Again, it would put us in a time crunch, but there is no law that says that can't happen. Is that, again, correct, Mr. Stennett?
Except he cannot by law vote for himself.
Okay,
Because I am prepared,
all right.
if need be, to hand in a letter of resignation if the board should desire it.
Look, in my opinion, that's your call in
To
terms of what
save
you
the-
do.
to
right?
save us from that
So
time.
the application process is open.
Yes.
Right? And whatever decision you make in terms of, in my opinion, resigning or not resigning, that's your call. I'm not gonna be presumptuous about anything, about what you're gonna do or not do.
Oh, and I just mean it so that it could take care of the timing, so that you won't be delayed past this meeting to accept my letter of resignation.
Thank you for your comment. I mean, we
okay.
can't,
And you can-
that's your call, so we
Yes.
can't comment on that.
Okay, but, okay, I've got the situation, because I also want to avoid if I stayed as chairman and you came to a 2-2 decision and I was up there for chair, if I was one of the two and I can't vote, it's going to hold you in a 2-2 stalemate. And I'm just trying to ease things out. I'm prepared to do it as easily as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Purdy.
I just want to ask a question. Joe Lindsay, 6244 Overview Drive. Counselor, is it mandatory that this decision for the appointment be made in 30 days?
Yes. Well, before it goes to the vacancy board.
Because the curve that's just been thrown this board is really going to, I mean, even without with just happened, in my opinion, you're really, I mean, the statute is really putting the process on fast mode here, and this is an important decision for the township. And I wouldn't want to see someone who would make a great candidate being left out because it's such a small period of time, as well as the board is going to have a very small period of time to make a decision. So what would happen? Let's play devil's advocate. What would happen if they could not fill it in 30 days? Now, it would only, I think you said, then it would have 15 days after that for the vacancy board to decide. So there is a little bit of wiggle room there, correct?
Correct.
But, so,
Okay.
if you could explain again, Mr. Stennett, the vacancy board that makes that decision, it's us as the four supervisors
Yeah,
and
but
the
you're
vacancy
chair.
board as chair, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So we do have, or you have, a little bit of wiggle room past the 30 days, technically speaking, because you are going to be part of that vacancy board, and you could maybe schedule the vacancy hearing on that 15th day after the 30 days. Correct, Counselor?
Yeah, typically, I mean, I haven't had many instances where
Right.
we went to the vacancy board.
Right.
But in the ones I have, we've essentially pre-scheduled that hearing to meet that timeline.
Okay, I just think that the original appointment is on fast pace, and with what just happened here now, you have an additional decision that's got to be made in the same period of time or even sooner. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Other public comments?
Hello, Karen Hargis, Bainbridge Drive. My only comment is going to be, we are expecting the board, all of you, to make the decision as who is going to sit in that chair based on the information that you're going to be receiving from the applicants. The only thing that I hope happens is that when the decision is made, all of you has come to agreement, then that will settle it. Because there's always going to be someone, I don't care if he or she is the most qualified person, there is always going to be someone who will find fault with that person. And when that happens, then things start to come out again, and that's the worst thing that can happen. I've been in the township for 50 years. I've been in my home for 40, and I've been watching carefully all of this going on. The important thing is that you are the board, whoever it is, you make the decision, and then we as a people, we need to honor that decision and not come up later on when everything is said and done and decide that we feel that is not the most qualified person. That should not be our call. That should be your call, because a lot of times we get personal and we bring our feelings into the person that has been selected regardless. And I'm just hoping that that doesn't happen, because when it does, friction, it comes every time. And I've seen that on this board, boards before it, and boards before that. Let us as a people honor the decision that is made. We might not like the person, but that's personal. We need to honor the decision that the board has made. That's just my feelings on this. Because if it happens that someone doesn't like somebody that has been appointed, it's not going to work. There's going to be conflict. And that's the last thing that we need on this board, that is conflict.
Thank you, Ms. Hargis. Other public comment?
Don Packer, 5723 Kenwood Avenue. I just want to comment on sort of the timing and some of the process that you discussed. I agree with Mr. Lindsay. It seems like it's kind of being really squashed, the timing. Only a week to take applications, then a couple of days for you guys to read through all of them and decipher who your top 5 are going to be. But it is what it is. What if somebody can't be at that July 21st meeting? I mean, again, you're talking about 2 weeks, and people will have plans. You have no idea who's going to apply, and are you going to have somebody not apply just because they're already planning a vacation or have a vacation like Mr. Gossard? I understand you're going to probably change yours, but do you understand what I'm saying? You're now eliminating somebody just because they can't be here.
I think conversely, you could be eliminating somebody by waiting till the next meeting or setting up another meeting. I mean, somebody's going to be impacted somewhere.
Right.
Right.
Well, they
Regardless
won't
whether we
be
extend it-
impacted as much as if
yeah,
you give a
it's
multiple.
not to be argumentative, but somebody's going to be impacted.
Well, sure, but you're also being restrictive. If you add another meeting, you give somebody 2 weeks options. Because again, what you haven't outlined at this point is you're doing this in a what is going to be your normal meeting. It's not a special meeting. You haven't called it anything else.
It is a special meeting.
You're calling it a special meeting, so you're supposed to have 3 meetings a month. So you're taking away one of the meetings.
No, that we're going to do it prior to the meeting.
Okay, so
Meeting on the 21st. So,
so
we will start interviews at like 4:00 in the afternoon.
Okay, so that's my next question.
Right.
What's your time frame as far as you're asking 5 questions to each candidate, and you're saying you're probably going to have 5 here. So you're going to bring one guy in. How much time does he get to answer that question? And then are there follow-up questions?
I'm
So
hoping we'll give him a half hour per candidate.
a half hour per candidate.
Yep.
So
That will end
what
us
if he only gets through? You see where I'm going with this? You could be on question 3. I've sat in interviews like this, and there was a time frame set for each question, and you had to get through it. And if you had 10 questions to get through, and the candidate only got through 6, well then I only got to, judge him on 6, because he wasn't able to answer the questions in a timely manner to get to number 10 and finish the interview. Okay.
We can create scenario after scenario after scenario about this. I mean, the reality
Well,
of
I
it
get
is-
you can,
yeah.
but what you need to do, what
Reality
you
of it
should have
is-
probably done before this,
Yeah.
because you knew Dr. Stewart was resigning. He had a thing out on Facebook a week or 2 ago. I mean, executive session is what this is for. Much of this should have been hashed out.
No, that is not permissible
Well,
in executive session.
then you should have emailed back and forth and said,
So-
You can't
give
do
me a
that.
list.
Oh, no, so look, let me
real
just,
quick,
let me
can I say
just,
one
let me
thing?
just, look, I mean, until we have a letter of resignation in our hands, it doesn't matter what's on
Well,
Facebook
then
or
whatever.
anything. No,
That's a
no,
moot point. I understand what you're saying.
And I understand what you're saying as well.
What about in regards to picking this? What about references? Are you allowed to provide a reference? Are you allowed to make, are they allowed to make a call to a reference? You're trying to garner as much information about somebody you can, but it's, I get what you're saying. You want a resume, you want a letter of intent, and you want the application. Are they allowed to go further and contact references?
Nothing we've laid out limits other things, including potentially having another meeting. If one of the 5 applicants, we call and say, hey, we'd like to schedule your interview on the 21st, and they say, oh my gosh, I I'm going in for surgery that day. There is nothing that precludes the board from saying, let's move him to the 28th. So you're asking for each and every contingency to be outlined?
no, I'm
but
not,
the way
but-
it's set up is they can take those into account when and if they come. Then they're not contingencies. We're not planning for
I
contingencies.
think the most restrictive reason for, I would not recommend having 4 interviews and then having 1 2 days later, because it's on YouTube, you already know the questions now. So,
That's a good point.
to me, the 5 have to do, the
Well,
5
that's
have to do it the
But
night.
that's in conflict with what he just said,
No,
so.
all
I
I'm
mean,
saying is that's a
no,
possibility.
Well, no, it's not a possibility according to him, because he's right. He says, because now somebody could be privy to the question
No, I think
before
what
they
he-
get here.
what the way I was taking what Lee was saying is, maybe he might have said 1, but I think if all 5 can't make it one night, if let's say there's 2 that can't make it, 3 that can make it, can we find a mutual time in the future where all 5 can show up?
Okay.
We're just trying to lay out the best possible dates. I
Well,
mean,
what about the references, though? Because you said they're not allowed to call anybody. That's my point with that.
Right. So in my opinion, folks can list, references, but the time frame is short, right? So what I'm going to be looking at is really the application, right? If they want to submit a resume and a letter of intent, if they want to submit anything else, they can certainly do that. But the application is the main document. That is the required document.
Right.
But I mean, you raised, good question. But look, the statute it constrains us. No doubt, no way. I mean, 30 days. And me personally, I would prefer that this board makes that call, as Ms. Hart just said, on who and appointing a supervisor.
Sure, I agree. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Packer. Other public comment? All right, seeing none, let's move on to item number 9.3 on the agenda. Authorize the execution of a lease agreement with Santander Bank for a 2026 Ford Maverick from the police department. Mr. Gossard.
yes, this is typically how we've been purchasing certain vehicles in the past. It's just us purchasing a budgeted vehicle. We are doing it through the lease process, and at the end of the lease, we will buy the vehicle out for $1. So, and that is the same for the next item as well, that is going to the Public Works Department.
Okay, on item number 9.3, any public comment? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to authorize the execution of the lease agreement for the, okay, thank you. Supervisor Shive, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Lindsay. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The lease has been authorized. Item number 9.4 on the agenda, authorize the execution of a lease purchase agreement with Santander Bank for the 2027 Western Star 47X dump truck. I know you, but do I have a motion to, accept, do I have a motion to authorize the execution of that lease agreement?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. That has been authorized. Item number 9.5 on the agenda, discussion of possible action to reschedule the August 4th Board of Supervisors meeting to August 3rd due to National Night Out. Do we need to vote on this? I don't think we need to vote on it.
Yeah, because we'll need to actually submit the advertisement. There's an expense to
Okay.
that.
All right. Mr. Gossard, your comments on this?
Just, this was a request of a board member, and it is a legitimate reason to move a meeting, so I would agree with moving that.
All right. Any public comment?
If I can just add to it, it is National Night Out. We want to be there to greet the residents from our township, from other townships, go around, thank the vendors that have put their booths up and have been there in the heat probably for 3 hours from 5 to 8. Many, many years ago, we did try to go at 5 and try to race back here by 6:45, and it just never worked out. So I would make a motion that we move the August 4th meeting to August 3rd.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Did I ask for public comment?
I
Any
think you
pub-
did, but I jumped in, I'm sorry.
All right, hearing no public comment, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you're not doing anything August the 4th, please join us at George Park from 5 to 8.
Okay, ayes have it. Item number 9.6, action to ratify the declaration of disaster emergency. Mr. Gosser.
Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. This is just being proactive in case the governor declares a state of emergency or a disaster for the state or this area, that we are have this already locked up and we're ready to file our application for reimbursements.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gossert. Any public comment? Seeing none, do I have a motion to? Thank you. Second? Thank you.
I second it.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Have the same right? Okay, the ayes have it. On to item number 10 on the agenda, the payment of bills. Supervisor Scheib.
All right, I'm going to put all three of the requests for payment in one motion. As treasurer, I request that the Board of Supervisors approve the following: checks on demand in the amount of 20 checks for a little less than $22,000 in total. Checks for the Sewer Authority, payment of bills, $133,848.72. And finally, a request for payment for authorization of bills for Lower Paxton Township in the amount of $440,950.02.
Did you make a motion?
I did.
Okay. All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. All right, any announcements? Any announcements?
I would like to make some announcements, please, and I know that these were previously stated, but I did reach out to our recreation director to get some flyers. The concert that was canceled due to weather last weekend will be rescheduled for this Friday, so we're talking a few days from now, July 10th, at 6 to 8 p.m. So everyone come out to hear the Colin Alvarez Band. Finally, next week is the Parks and Recreation Celebration Week. They're calling it the Power Of. If anyone is interested, on Monday we can all practice yoga. Monday, July 13th, that's at Santana Field. On Tuesday, July 14th, come out to Heroes Grove to see the presentation from the Birds of Prey from the Hawk Mountain Sanctuary. On Wednesday, if you're artistic, come out with crafts with the Arts Council at George Park on Nye Road. Finally, on Thursday, the 16th, a demonstration for the game of cricket will be conducted at Lingle Park. July 17th, which is Friday, is a geocaching adventure at Cole Park. Finally, on Saturday is the Garden Work Day from 10 to 12 at the Community Gardens. And finally, if you want a scoop of ice cream, this is a pay out of your pocket. Everything else was free to the public. Pay out of your pocket. Scoop Dreams truck will be at Coons Park from 12 to 4 p.m.
All right, any other announcements?
I do have an announcement. I was debating whether or not I should do it at board member comment or after the manager's report, but I just decided just to wait till the end. For the last couple of months, residents have been asking us to provide them with a statement of our goals and the things that we wish to achieve during the first year of our term. And we've been postponing it. The last date that I heard was it was going to be in June. It was going to be in July. So I waited this evening to hear, as part of the manager's report, that response. So we don't have it this evening. So I'm hoping we can get it next week, because as I'm out and about, I'm asked about it. And I had said that, oh, well, we've been off for several weeks, and I'm sure that when we go back in July, we will hear the report. So That didn't happen tonight, so I'm requesting that we could hear it next meeting.
If I can respond to that, I know that each of the supervisors have submitted their ideas and thoughts to our township manager in terms of our priorities and some of the goals that we have. Periodically, Mr. Gossard has been reporting on a lot of the goals that we've had. Now, if it's a matter of just summarizing the goals and what we have done so far, I'm sure we can do that. There were definitely specific goals. One was to, again, for example, hire an HR manager. That was one of our primary goals and our priorities. We needed that in the worst kind of way, and that was done, and that was accomplished. So, Mr. Gossard, perhaps we can do that, summarize, those goals and those things that we have accomplished. Other announcements?
Yeah, if I can just ask, I think we called it the state of the township that Mike was going to give. So I think, Mike, from what I've been hearing, you've been working with the different directors to see which direction they want to go. So will you be putting that in a summary and then giving it to us, here at a meeting, or how is that going to happen?
Yeah, I'm, pretty much ready to go anytime. we're
Okay.
ready. I just know that the last couple meetings, we've, with the resignation, I talked to the chair about delaying until we get the new supervisor on board. He thought that might be a better idea. You're not going to be here at the next meeting, and you asked me not to do it at the next meeting.
Right.
So we are, I can go anytime you want to go.
Okay.
So we can look to maybe the end of August,
Yeah.
right, to have that,
Okay.
okay?
I mean, because people are asking, and I just say I don't know, so.
And we are canceling the next meeting then, the workshop meeting, because we're going to be having a special meeting. Again, the priority is about, again, getting and appointing a supervisor, right? So we're going to be having additional meetings, potentially to, make that happen. That is the priority for us. We're under a 30-day time crunch. So we want to focus on that to make sure that that meeting happens. Mr. Gossard, any other comments on that?
Just reached out to all the department heads. We do not have anything for the agenda. With Robin not going to be here, that leaves 3 supervisors, and it just seemed like the meeting just didn't need to happen. We didn't need to go through the expense, so I asked supervisors if they are interested, please let me know, and we'll cancel that meeting.
But again, we can potentially have several additional meetings in the month, right? So we need to create room and capacity for us to do that. Again, 30 days, we have a tight time crunch. That is a priority for us. All right, any other announcements? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do you have a second? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you so much, everyone, for your comments, your time, and your input here today. Have a great evening.